Salutations, Luna. Welcome to my show. My name's Fieto. I'm going to ask you six mythical questions as we're on a hurry, aren't we? So, today is May 5th. I'm glad that you're back from the afterlife, but I'll ask this. Do you always eat dinner by 9? Is it because you sleep late, or is it all just planned out because you're out for a very long time?
Here in the house I live in, tend to eat very late because we're just all over the place. We just sometimes end up eating way later than we should. So yeah.
And that's no problem. So, is everyone always here though?
Oh yeah, everyone always here for dinner. The
That's
four of
awesome.
us.
Now, which one are you? Are you a millennial or a zoomer?
I'm a Zoomer. I don't know. Early Zoomer will be like 1997 to 2000, but I was born
Gotcha.
in the '03, so like, still early millennial.
And what do
No
you think
offense, half
about your
Zoomer, not millennial Zoomer.
Yeah, so what do you think about being a Zoomer?
It means nothing.
I'm glad because, most people would go with tangents, but alright. I'm reminded of the time you told me about compressing songs of one of your albums, which you've done, and so far, you're the only artist I know that has re-uploaded an album to sound like a GBA. So was GBA compression the influence? Game Boy Advance.
No, not particularly. No.
Gotcha. Did you like it though?
Most, I didn't play the GBA. I did not have that as a kid. I got the DS.
That does have some pretty awesome sound quality. Okay, but I was asking no, I mean, did you like the end result of hello, I made some songs for you, but it's compressed?
Oh yeah, I did like it a lot. I guess compression. No, yeah. I don't know if compression in this case, it's a little bit of a misnomer, because like there is something in music production we call compression, and I think the thing you're asking about is compressing audio quality, which can sometimes be referred to as distortion. Is not necessarily is related to guitar distortion, but it doesn't have to be as dramatic as that. But yes, I do think the compression of the album I did actually helped a lot to the songs. Not only that, I did not just like demaster the thing. I did not just distort the master and added some lo-fi filters on top of it. I also remixed the album to make it sound better, because like after 2 years of doing music I had gotten slightly better at mixing and just producing in general, so I did some of that, which might be doing a lot of the heavy work on making the remaster sound better. However, I do think that with the added distortion and compression to the original, to the remixed masters, actually work really well in conveying the sound that I was intending to portray with that album.
I agree. Yeah, you did a pretty good job at it.
Thank you.
I really thought it was just gonna be distortion and a bit of that, but then no, you did make some of the songs did sound a bit more better. It sounded more natural, if that's a way to say it. Did
And
anybody
yeah,
else thought the same way?
well, no, not necessarily. They often focus on other parts of the music, like the composition and songwriting. Most people I talk to about this album don't really care for the lo-fi production, though they, yeah, no, yeah.
That sucks. You win some, you lose some. And
Well, to
also
be fair,
speaking of, wait, sorry,
if they
repeat that.
don't, yeah, like if they don't notice it, it means it's doing its work well. So that's good.
All right, I was gonna say where did you get the? When did what artists do you like that did lo-fi?
It's a little bit weird. This goes back to, well, I didn't during most of my life. I didn't think of music that much. Just listen to music occasionally. However, once I got into music, I got into just all of it. Well, I started getting into music on a deeper level, and as you do, you start looking up your artists on YouTube, and eventually YouTube recommends you more stuff. And as I was getting into music, I found some other stuff. They're just out of sheer coincidence. Actually, I think the particular interest in lo-fi music came, shit, it's really funny. It came from an entry in an iceberg chart, creepy PSA and adverts chart. I'm gonna send it to you. That one had a little entry about an anti-weed PSA. I don't
Anti-weed?
remember which one it was. Yeah, which had a little cartoon of a dog and a pot smoker. And the focus of the entry was specifically about the music that was playing in the background. It was a little indie-tronica piece by a guy named Charlie Campbell. Yeah, Charlie Campbell, who, after leaving his 90s grunge band behind, started doing music for advertisements and for this anti-weed TV PSA. He made, ironically enough, a very psychedelic electronica piece. And since the video only, the iceberg charts video specifically only had the poor quality TV rip, with the way they used the song was a little bit weird. They cut it up because it's like a 30-40 second PSA on TV, but the track itself is like 1 minute and a half, so they cut it up a lot. And since this was recorded, I assume on a VHS or of some sort around 2006, the quality degraded a lot, and as such, I listened to that. The song itself was also available on MySpace, and it has been archived on the Internet Archive today. The song itself, at its full quality, is itself already pretty lo-fi. Not as lo-fi as some of the stuff I've delved into or some of the stuff I've done, but it is itself very lo-fi. But now that filtered through a shitty TV VHS recording, or I guess CD recording. I guess they could have been recording TV segments on CD by then. Whatever it is, distorted and compressed the recording a lot. And as such, I was enamored by not only the recording but also the quality of the recording. It was very warm. Lots of this lo-fi stuff. Since recording quality is measured in a lot of ways, but one of the ways it is measured is in its range of frequencies available. So like notes, a tone, a pitch is effectively a frequency, a little wave, and it can go from 1 hertz, one oscillation per second, to like 10k hertz, which is like 10,000 oscillations per second. And that dictates the pitch of the sound, not only of the tone, but also of its enharmonic texture. And the problem with a lot of early recording was that they couldn't record a sound with its full range of enharmonic content. Most of it was isolated to like mid-range frequencies, mid-high frequencies, which wasn't an issue at the time, given that recordings and just vocal audio communication through systems was based mostly on human speech, which itself is based around the mid and the mid-high frequencies of the human hearing spectrum. However, to get better recordings, they had to increase the amount of frequency recording. And as they did, they gained a lot of highs and a lot of lows. It got a lot crispier and bassier. However, low-end commercial recording and stereo systems still existed, and those tend to stick to those mid and mid-high frequencies, which tend to be kind of warm and fuzzy. When it's only warm, people might not like the sound, but some people do, and I am one of those people that like the especially warm sound and a little bit fuzzy sound. And as such, I got enamored by the song. I replayed it a lot, and then I got into other musicians in similar categories of slack rock, lo-fi rock, all that sort of stuff. And I got into the Unicorns, specifically a track called Peach Moon, which they had made around a similar time than that Charlie Campbell had made his Indietronica track, which whose name is actually Showtime Paul. I forgot to mention it. The track in the TV PSA is called Showtime Paul. And then I got into the Unicorns through the song Peach Moon, which was in a playlist in which Showtime Paul was, along with other lo-fi rock acts, most of which I don't remember other than just Teen Suicide, which is another slacker rock musician. And as I got into the music, someone recommended to me someone called Ariel Pink, and that led me through a whole different rabbit hole, which half of which was still pretty lo-fi. Ariel Pink is a hypnagogic pop musician whose catalog relies on that lo-fi sounds to hauntological image of old music, old corporate music, old music, little commercial jingles and pop rock AOR music. And just from then on, I just started getting into the lo-fi aspect of the music along with the hauntological aspect of the music, which is also a great aspect of that album, the Hello, I've made some songs from you. That album I like to think is fairly hauntological, or in this case hypnagogic, fairly based around Ariel Pink, though at the time I wasn't thinking of that actively. I think it's more of an unicorns worship more than Ariel Pink worship, even if lots of Ariel Pink influences were still in that album. And as such, from then on, I got into stuff like James Ferraro and shit like that. And eventually, I ended up listening to a lot of noise music, which noise music is like the absolute logical conclusion to lo-fi sound. Ever since, I've just completely destroyed my music taste, and I think that's for the better.
What a damn combination. But like, yeah, yeah, you're right. It's like what you led up to the
Yeah,
was within that album, and I mean, I guess it does separate the user base a bit much too. But I mean, I guess it's like, well, so what? You're still gonna keep going with more stuff to make, right? That's just how it is.
yeah, and to be fair, the lo-fi-ness of my album, along with a lot of Ariel Pink's output after the 2010s, once he started doing music in the studio, is actually it is still somewhat lo-fi. It still has that hauntological characteristic, which hauntology is a lot of things, one of which can be represented in lo-fi sound, and that is still present in a lot of Ariel Pink's output. Before Today, Matthew Sims, Pom Pom, and dedicated to Bobby Jameson, that one from 2017. All of them have lo-fi elements. However, they have still enjoyed a lot of popularity, a lot of great critical acclaim and popularity along more mainstream channels, specifically because the lo-fi elements, though still present, do not overtake the general traditional necessities for commercial mixing and mastering, which is pretty cool, I think. I think I did make my shit a little bit too lo-fi for, in some cases, I've made it a little bit too lo-fi for radio, but at the same time, lots of Ariel Pink stuff could be played on the radio too, everything after 2010. So yeah, it does alienate some audiences, but it can also attract a lot of audience. I mean, you've seen how popular Jack Stover is, and he uses similar. He is also a hypnagogic pop musician like Ariel Pink. He does all the metatextual references to a past of music, and he also does it through some lo-fi channels. And though it is lo-fi, it is also pretty commercial too, and you've
Yeah,
seen how popular his music is. Yeah, so the public is not necessarily against lo-fi. It has to dock properly with commercial. Yeah, lo-fi is something that people like. It just doesn't have to be too lo-fi.
like to unite as an audience, right? Because I mean, I say that
Yeah,
every genre has its audience, no matter what. Yeah, there's always smaller ones, and like for
yeah,
whatever is too lo-fi, it's like it's going to have its audience. Like Beach Boys' "Love Me" album was a pretty experimental album that was somewhat lo-fi and just crazy and shit, and it alienated so many people that were Beach Boy fans, but it attracted so many other people that didn't even care about the band, only to like the "Love Me" album. I
of
recommend checking
course.
that one out. But other than that, it's like,
Yeah, never heard
yeah,
of
your
them.
audience is the one that's there, and even if it didn't really like grow after that project, I think you're still more. I
Love,
think you're still more like prioritizing on like making the next other work that's part of your passion and part of like what other thing that you want to experiment with or want to actually express that
yeah,
that you like. Yeah, that you like. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But wait, it's Beach Boys "Love You" or "Love Me"?
It's Love You. Yeah, it's Love You. Sorry if I got that wrong. It's been a long time since I've
Yeah,
checked it out. Oh, I guess you already checked
I'm
it out
gonna.
then?
Yeah, I'm checking it out right now. I'm gonna check this out later.
Cool.
But yeah, of course. But even then, I still do care a little bit about commercial success. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing under my main name HB Luna is gonna be pretty commercial. Well, or at least sufficiently commercial, like Jack stole this stuff. You've kept up with my other releases under different pseudonyms.
Yeah, but I just still mostly follow the one that the commercial name. That's the one I'm just always going to know, since it's gonna be easier
Yep.
to track it that way, and it's also part of your pages, like your Bandcamp and your Spotify. So yeah, and your YouTube channel too.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to like upload my other pseudonyms to my YouTube too. I am yet to upload my latest 𝘂𝑫ℍ𝑚𝑜𝑡𝑠 release today, which is another thing more like black and hardcore punk, metalcore shit. That's really fucking noisy. I, s- I keep forgetting to add it. I might add it right now to my YouTube channel because I'm very passionate about projects too. I just know they're not gonna have as much reach as an HB Luna synth pop banger might have.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I still wouldn't mind like another return to that anyway.
I plan on doing that. I'm working on an album. It's taken a little while. I hope to finish it before the year ends, but you know,
I think whatever when it becomes like doing it under pressure, just doing it willingly is really different, but it does change the result of like how it will become by the end of the year or before then or after. I mean, it doesn't matter which. I think you'll just still do a pretty good job at it. We'll just have to see by then.
thank you. Yeah,
And also, I'm going
I
to skip
I
two questions since you are in a hurry. And also, like the last two questions I was gonna ask don't really seem that important since like the stuff you kind of just talked about are kind of related to those questions anyway. So the last one is this is a bit different. It's like, what is the most fun you've had when writing a story? Since at a time you used to like write stories, or at least you still write, right?
I do still write stories. It's just you know how it is with fake writers. Never publish anything.
But did you had like
Uh,
at least fun when it comes to like one of the things you're written? At least the most fun you've had?
well, I am writing a little something. It's a smaller project based around Homestuck, so that's already a big red flag right there.
Is it a collaboration or is it something that's a solo work completely?
It's a collaboration between a bunch of people called 𝘭𝘪𝘬𝘭𝘺. Let me write it to you.
Yeah,
Weird
I'll have
name.
it displayed on the
The,
screen. That way people know which one you're referring to. So yeah, there we go.
yeah, yeah. So like, you know what a kin is, right? You know what it means to kin something or someone.
Nope, but since you're in the audience, you might as well explain it.
Alright, so kinning is from the word of kin, like humankind, human kin, like that sort of stuff. People that are similar to you, so be it in a sense of species or race or just other more abstract group
Oh,
properties. Uh, to kin something or someone is to relate to it and to see a lot of yourself in it and associate yourself with it.
And for a bit, I thought it was something to do with like clones or at least descendant stuff, which what the original story had. Because you know how like some characters would have like different versions of themselves, or at least someone
Yeah,
that represents their guardians, but then they're like, well, you know what I'm
yeah,
talking about. I'm not gonna go
yeah.
further in
It's
case
it's
anyone is reading it. It's like I'm not gonna spoil it there, but it's like it's like that.
it's not gonna come out anytime soon. Uh, but I'm gonna keep talking about it.
I
Uh,
mean, I think it's good that like the idea is still there and there's still people working on it, right?
yeah. Well, there are still people working on it, but a lot of the cast is still also like missing in action,
Yeah, it's
especially
just like
like
the war.
of
Can't
course.
win them in everything. But all right, thank you so much. I think now this
But
wraps up.
actually, I do want to talk a little bit about this because like to kin something
Go ahead.
is to identify yourself with it, and as such, a kinsona is to take that thing or that person you associate yourself a lot with and to mix yourself and that person into one thing, into one character. So it's like always fun seeing which things will change and which things will not, and all that sort of stuff. And making a whole new character, a whole new person based on yourself and this other person and this other character. And Kinsona stuff is basically this little recreation, quoting with a lot of quoting marks in recreation of Homestuck, where each main character, there's 34 of them, so there's 34 people in the in the project, so that's already gonna be a lot of a lot of hassle to work with, but
No
so
kidding.
there's gonna be a kinsona for every main character. So this person identifies with this character, so they make the kinsona, which is their person meets with this other character they identify with, and they replace the main character with their new character, which is themselves.
And I think that's the biggest challenge for what I'm hearing is having to deal with that much narrative since, it's a whole bunch of characters, especially when most of them are be like the person's personalized experience. Yeah, I guess I'm using the word
Yeah,
personalization there. But I mean, it is
yeah,
an interesting concept to really use in just stories and games as well. But yeah, with stories, it's a bit
yeah.
harder since you have to really describe
Pay
everything within
attention.
actions and descriptions. Yeah, especially when it's a
You have
lot
to
of characters.
you have to pay attention to how much things are gonna change with these new characters, because like uh, a lot of the narrative is gonna stay similar, but a lot of it is also gonna change drastically, and lots of characters are gonna be shifted around in terms of importance and relationships. Not only that, but possible interpersonal turmoil might start, since well, it's an incredibly personal project. Well, we're literally all adding ourselves into the story, and we're establishing relationships between our characters almost as if they're like little proxies for ourselves with other people. That creates some problems. It has created some problems already, which is a little bit weird because of course the character is not you. The point is that it's you and in the amidst of this other character, but also at the same time this other character is already pretty similar to you in a lot of aspects. So that sense of proxy, that sense of having a proxy interact with proxies of other people, that can generate a lot of turmoil if certain things go wrong. Yeah. And not only that, the logistical challenge of coordinating 34 people to do their job, which is not gonna be a lot actually. Most people are probably just gonna add a little bit of writing, since they have to write their own characters and they just dialogue and other stuff. But I reckon that most of the heavy labor is gonna be done by like 10 people, like 5 artists and 5 main writers. But even then, that's gonna be take a lot of time, and it's gonna take a lot of work. And I'm not sure if it may even happen by this point. It's really just for fun, because the main organizer is having some economic problems, some housing problems right now. He lives in America, so you already know how that is.
Tell me about it. Especially if he's like looking for a new job, and that's also another problem there. Other than that, like,
Yeah, yes,
goddamn.
I think he just lost his job. It's gonna be really tough from now on. It
I'll
has
pray
been
to him.
tough. And writing those that this very personal experience, which is also very personal for other people. And I think if this does come out, I think the things that I write here are gonna be really resonating. They're gonna be really beautiful in some ways, some really wretched ways, but some really real ways. Of course, if it does find the light of the public. I hope it does, at least a little bit. I've
Yeah.
coordinated some stories with some of the other characters, people characters, however you say it. It's just we've done some really stellar work. I believe, I personally believe, and just writing that has been a lot of fun, even if it has been a little bit impractical to do so.
Well, I mean, fine. I mean, it may be the Sunstone, but it's like most other projects are always going to be long, and I feel like the most fulfilling ones are the ones that kind of don't seem like they'll end. You're just doing it because you enjoy it, and especially when it's with the others and that they're enjoying it. It's like a really good project.
Yeah, of course. I
Especially
think
like,
it can be really good.
yeah, and also especially like how nowadays a lot of people want to focus on like finishing things and thinking that there's gonna be an end goal to things, but then they don't really get satisfied when they finish something because then they think about the big question of, oh, what's next, you know?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in life there are no endings apart from this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's no endings, and a lot of projects will end, or some may not even like end at all, and they can still continue. Like that one particular Russian artist that does a lot of like stop motion. I think I forgot his name, but I'll put it in the screen. Like he's just been working on the particular film about like a man with the trench coat, and he's still working on it, and he's been working on it since like the 90s.
Jesus
Better than that.
Christ.
It's like, projects go on for like, for some people it can go on for so long, but
Yeah, I just
they
hope
don't
we
do it
don't
because
say
it's a
25 years.
yeah, I was gonna say they don't do it because it's like really much of like a necessity job. They just do it because like they enjoy it, and also it's able for them to really like create something they never have done so before in their lives.
Yeah, this one is a little bit of a passion project, and it's also of galactical proportions. Have you seen how fucking long Homestuck is? Holy shit!
Yeah, it took me like 2 times to reread it when when I first read it back in middle school, but then I would finish reading it like in high school. It's just
Oh,
amazing.
Jesus Christ.
But I think,
I read
well,
it once in middle school, and I still am yet to complete a full rereading of it.
it's just like, I mean, I did like it. It's like, oh, so wait, I forgot to mention it. Like, okay, well, yeah, I did read in middle school, but I forgot the fact that like it was on a hiatus during the time. So it's like when I caught up, it's like, well, there's nowhere to go. And then when it finally finished, that's when I had to reread it the entire thing, and just, there we go. And I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's bad. It's not bad. It's
It's
a
an
lot.
it's an acquired something for people that like it. That's it. No problem there. I also like Problem
Particularly
Sleuth.
a lot of autistics and queer people like it. I wonder why that is.
I mean, you could argue the same thing with fucking anime, honestly, but you know what? A lot of people can hate
Oh,
me for that.
well, no, but well, there's a lot of cis-het fans of anime, especially lately. No, it always has been a big cis and heterosexual male space, mostly. It's just that Homestuck is particular in its proportion of autistics, neurodivergents, and queer people.
Not only to mention that it came out in such an early ass time, too.
Yeah.
Alright, now this would wrap up everything, and then you have to get going. But thanks for having me. I mean, thanks for. Fuck. How do you say those things at the end? Like, thanks for you to be here. Thanks for having me here, but that's something that you have to say.
Thank you
I
for
know.
being here. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming. Right. Thank you so much. And adios. Adieu. Ciao. Ciao,
I
ciao,
see you
ciao.
later.